So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a very weird space in that sense,
Yeah.
but there are always layers to it. There's always culture to it. There's always a sense of, context for which these things exist in. And that context is such a mental thing. It's such a personal thing for a lot of people. And they cannot understand that someone else's context, someone else's world is going to be different from the one that they've envisioned in their head. And it's the
Yeah.
strangest thing when you realize that you're interacting with 1,000 people or billions of people in their own little, mental bubbles of perception of how
Yeah.
things are. And it's a miracle upon miracles that we can actually interact and collaborate and make things happen when we have such very different, views and perceptions of how the world actually is and how
Yeah.
people fit within it. But that's our challenge. That's absolutely our challenge. When we talk about
Yeah.
inclusion, it's absolutely our challenge. We talk about diversity to somehow make it work where all these different perceptions, all these different views of reality somehow get to coexist in a way that we can all be safe and valued, and we can all have the basic human respect and dignity that we all deserve. And I think
Yeah.
that's a thing I would love to see. That's my goal. That's my professional goal. That's my personal hope, that we can find some way of transcending the bubbles that we exist in our minds,
Yes.
in our cultures and our societies,
Yeah.
um, to be able to figure some way out of being able to work together better.
Yeah. And humanize one another. Humanize one another.
Yeah.
It's like one of the big things for me that I also keep reminding myself of is also when I read recounts of like extremely anti-trans people, right? Like I
Hmm.
come back to the trans thing because that's like sort of the thing that I engage with a lot, also like in my free
Hmm.
time. But even then, like I want to understand. I don't think everybody should like this is a very hard mental exercise and stuff like that when you're trying to like really understand where the other person comes from who
Hmm.
wishes that you didn't exist. And I don't think it's for everybody, nor should it be. Everybody, please protect your peace. But the thing is that like I am learning right now in very very hard lessons that understanding and agreeing are two very, very separate things. I can allow myself to understand where somebody comes from,
Hmm.
even if I fundamentally disagree with them and feel profoundly unsafe within their bubble. Because I know that they think I should not exist in that bubble, and so that those things coexist. For me, I
Hmm.
want to not always. I don't always want to understand. Sometimes I'm like I've had it. Sometimes I don't want to understand, and
Hmm.
but then I will recognize it and then I will step a heck away.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I have that bandwidth by some miracle, I do want to understand, and I do want to like have compassion for that
Hmm.
thing. I understand when a parent is very very worried about massive changes that their child is going through because they are finally figuring out who they are, and they might revert back to whatever the heck that was before, like 3 years ago, but it's still not a harmful thing. But the
Yeah.
thing is that like everybody should have gender exploration.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter if they're cis or trans or non-binary or what have you, anything else, anything in between or outside, doesn't matter. They should, like everybody should actually have conscious concepts about their gender because they will be so much more happy because gender is just like, much like capitalism and white
Hmm.
supremacy and what have you, is an
Well,
inherently traumatizing thing.
I'm going to take it a step back. I'm going to say beyond
Yeah.
gender. I mean, I'm going to take it to the fact that, examine the boxes that you've been put in and consider what actually fits who
Yes.
you are as a person. I think
Yes.
just beyond
Yes.
beyond any kind of labeling of this and such, just consider who you are and become more in touch with that and
Yeah.
understand the person that you want to be in this world. Um, Dignify that, respect that, support that, grow that. I think that's a thing.
Yeah.
And there are going to be perceptions and there are going to be labels and things of this that will be put upon a person. And
Yeah.
that is the world that we exist in. But understand who you are, understand what you have,
Yeah.
to give in this world, understand, what you need to thrive in this world, and seek those things out, because
Yes.
realistically, there's never going to be a box, a label, a term, or, any kind of category that's ever going to encapsulate who you are as a person.
Yeah.
So the most important thing is to figure out who you are as a person and find
Yeah.
the thing that's going to fit you, because yeah,
Yeah.
the world can't give you everything. So it's going to be important to make certain that you can give something to yourself.
you're stuck with yourself, right? Like that's the one person that you will be stuck with for your entire life.
My goodness. Good
That's it.
Lord. Mm.
That's it.
But
Yeah, I know.
well,
You it's it comes back to me, humanize yourself, and that is exactly what you're saying.
mm,
Examine those boxes and whether or not you really want to stay in them, because maybe you don't. So humanize yourself so
mm.
that you can humanize everybody else as well.
I love this. Perfect.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I realize I do have to let you go. I've taken up so much of your
Yes,
life today.
I have
But
taken up so much of your time.
but actually, one quick thing I've been asking people,
Mhm.
especially as we're approaching the autumn time, is if there is something that is going to give you hope and light on these dark gray days, what's the thing that gives that to you? And what do you think you can give somebody else in that sense?
That is such a huge question. To me, right now, connections. I probably full on stole this one with you because we have had this conversation before. But I realized that is the thing that keeps me anchored, right? Like it's connection to other people, it's connection to the things that bring me joy. Right now, what brings me joy is that I finally started working on the comic project, on like this graphic novel
Mm.
project that I had been writing for many years, and now I'm like, okay, you know what, it's fine. It's scary that it now exists, like a couple of pages of it exist in the world, but I will
Mm.
work on this and it brings me joy. And so just like that sort of connection to like doing things, going to orchestra. Love going to orchestra because those are,
Oh,
people ask me, how do you find the time, how do you find the time to go to orchestra? And I'm like, no, the luxury for me is not going to orchestra. The luxury for me is not going, because when I am there, I have 2.5 hours where I'm forced to think about the music that I'm playing, and I cannot think about work.
I
And
don't
if
even know
you
what you
can
play, by the
find
way.
violin, I try.
Okay, very cool.
I try. But yeah, so that, I think that would be the one big thing, is like, if there is anything that that can be your me time, identify that with joy, and do something creative, because you deserve it. Everybody deserves doing something creative. I like I'm not going to get into another thing, but here's the thing. Creating art, be it music, be it dancing. I'm very bad at, like, I hate saying this, actually. I'm having like a visceral reaction to this. I'm not bad at dancing. I'm not a professional dancer, right? I'm not a professional dancer, and I'm nervous to dance in front of other people but I'm not bad at dancing. What does it mean to be bad at dancing? I just move my body to the music. So sometimes I just move my body to the music when nobody else sees me, because it brings me joy, because it moves things.
Yay.
And like, I wouldn't dance in front of people. I'm not a professional dancer by any means, but it brings me joy, so I cannot be bad at it, right?
I hope
Same
you
for
know that
drawing.
I'm going to actually, next time we run into each other, if there is music involved, I'm going to say, hey, do you want to dance and such? And that would bring me joy as well. So, like, I'm just saying, you got to get
I
over that whole
might.
fear of showing that to people. It's going to
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
I'm gonna look very ridiculous, but maybe at that point, I will be at the point where I just don't care anymore, and I will just care for the joy that it brings us in that moment, in that connecting moment of
There you
moving
go.
our bodies to music. Same for drawing, same for singing. I
Mhm.
don't care how many off-key notes, like, I don't care. There is no
Mhm.
such thing as being bad at art. You can be like like not a professional artist or whatever, but
Mhm.
like, you cannot be bad at it. If it brings you joy, do it. That's it. You know what? That's it. Do a creative thing. You cannot be bad at it, period.
I
And it's
love that. I love that.
it.
And you absolutely did, take some of those things from me. I'm very happy you never take it, you borrow, and you're using this. Connection's a great thing. I love connection,
Yeah,
and you've given me joy
yeah.
today because whenever I get to learn from people like you, I get to talk to folks like you, I get to hear and be inspired by you. That's something that makes, that creates light, that creates joy, that creates,
Mm.
something to look forward to in my week, which is why I have this whole series with all these different people I get to chat with and such, because hopefully it gets to bring some kind of joy and light to other people's weeks as well. Um, but I hope that people do go out and they look for the things that give them purpose, that give them peace, that give them that moment of just levy the smile that you need in your day. People sometimes, I don't want to go into the whole sexist thing of like, smile and such, that kind of thing. You don't owe anybody a smile, but it can certainly benefit you if you give one. If it's a thing that if you can, even just for yourself, find something that gives you
Yeah.
that. And that makes your workday a little bit better. It makes, the hard times not quite as heavy. So yeah, thank you for being
Yeah.
in my day and making this day better. I appreciate it.
Thank you too, Laura. I really appreciate it also.
Well, we'll see each other around, I'm certain, but
Yep.
in any case, someday collaboration is going to happen, I assure you.
I can see
But
it. I can sense it. It's around the corner. We will. Yes.
we're gonna make something happen. We're gonna make something happen. But in the meantime, good luck with all your work trying to make the world better, because I know you're gonna do it just by being you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Same to you.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.